Truth with Rich and sometimes Larry. On today's show, we're going to do something a little different. I have several shorts for you, and they're going to make you think and say, wow, what's really going on out there? And it will give you an opportunity to even look into it further. So, let's get this started and see how this goes. For our first piece we're going to listen to, we're going to visit Mars, and we're going to have those little rovers give us an idea what's going on. Again, you can check this out on YouTube on the shorts. This is Weird by Slings and Stones. Check it out.
Rovers. I go, rovers? Wow, the rovers are in here? I click on Opportunity Rover. Now I'm on the mast cam and I'm zooming in, zooming out, panning left and right. And I started seeing anomalies. But the anomalies that I was seeing, to answer your question, are things that look similar to ancient structures on Earth. And I go, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is this really Mars? So I start downloading these images and screenshotting them and analyzing them. And they're really Mars images hosted on Caltech servers. Some are on washington.edu. And I'm like, this is incredible. So I start comparing to now. I've got a really crazy passion for this because now I'm hunting down every ancient site and trying to see how do these sites connect to what I'm seeing going on Mars. And then I came across the Enuma Elish and the 7 tablets of creation from ancient Sumeria. And it talks about they had beings named the Igigi living on Mars, running a concurrent civilization that was on Earth and both on Mars. And that just blew me away. And from there, I just dove headfirst into the whole thing.
Now, doesn't that sound crazy? But the pictures, I don't know what's going on up there. And what makes it even crazier is there's several YouTubers that have channels dedicated to these things, like Mars Anomalies. He shows a lot of crazy stuff that's been apparently blurred out and covered up by NASA. Again, you go down this rabbit hole, you won't believe what you find. That's what's crazy. All right, moving on, we're going on to our next short. And this one is with Billy Carson, and he's describing people that lived on the moon and Mars. I'm telling you, this is the stuff we like to talk about. Have a listen. Enjoy.
Then I see people living on the moon. There's already a breakaway civilization there. They've been there for a very long time. People were on Mars, and a few whistleblowers have come forward and said that the people on Mars look like the ancient Egyptians. Governments are so advanced now. They used to be 50 years ahead of us of what we know exists. Now they're about 300 years ahead of us. In the last 10 years, over 200 NASA scientists dead. Strangely, it's kind of horrifying, and I think that the people who may want to come out are afraid to die.
What do you think? Kind of nuts, if you ask me. And the more I look into it, the more there's a possibility that this guy's actually telling the truth. There's more and more stuff coming out about our past, and more coming out about our government and what they have been doing to suppress the information about our history. For our next short, it's called This is Weird by Slings and Stone, and we're going to be talking about the 3 places on Earth that have special meaning. Have a listen.
London is the World Financial Center, Vatican City is for world religion, and Washington, D.C. is for the military. You can also see each entity has an Egyptian obelisk within their centers. This actually is the sexual organ of the false Egyptian god Osiris. In Washington, D.C. and Vatican City, they also have a dome close by which represents the pregnant stomach of Isis, another Egyptian false god. When ceremonies are done at the Capitol building or Vatican City, the occultists who have worked their way into the systems believe that they are calling forth Apollo to be resurrected. That's why the presidential inauguration and announcing of the new pope are done by these 2 structures. It's to enact a type of ritual in which their goal is to have Apollo birthed through the obelisk and pregnant stomach dome. The occultists in control are hoping to fulfill Revelation 9:11, which states, "And they had as king over them the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek he has the name Apollyon, or Apollo."
What do you think of that? Absolutely another crazy piece. Man slinging all sorts of craziness. And the weirdest thing is that if you take any part of what you just listened to and Google it, you'll come up with even more and more. And this is obviously taken from a longer presentation too as well. So, but I'm telling you, there's some truth into this craziness that's going on. And it starts tying everything up very nicely in a nice bow for you. But it takes a lot of research and a lot of time to kind of get through a lot of this BS that we're going to get. Anyway, moving on, we're going to check this out. And this is The World Ended in 2012, and it's just another person's opinion. And again, there's a lot of truth to what he has to say. So check it out. This short piece is brought to you by At the Rabbit Hole Official.
Everybody is actually dead. It's said that when you die, your brain lives on for 7 whole minutes and recreates your memories in a dreamlike state, flashing your whole life before you. As time moves differently when we're awake, rather than in our dreams, 7 minutes can feel like 7 minutes, or 100 years. Stephen Hawking actually said that when we find the God particle, the world could end in a day. And in 2012, we found it. What if the world did end in 2012 in an instant, and we've been living in our consciousness? Maybe that's the reason why ever since the year 2012, the world has gotten so much weirder.
One thing I can definitely tell you is that in 2012, things have gotten weirder, and in 2022, and also in 2023, things are just bat crazy. Now, I do believe that last bit was a little bit more unusual than most. I am sure Larry is all about that, and he could probably explain more, or he has a buddy that can explain more. But anyway, let's move along to something a little bit different, not so far-fetched, and we're going to hear from Robert Kiyosaki.
Concerned Biden is a criminal. I drove oil tankers with Standard Oil. So as soon as Biden came into office and he cut the Keystone XL pipeline off, I know he was out to destroy America. He was going to raise inflation through the roof, so that would wipe out the middle class. And then he blames Russia, he blames this and all this. But look at what the man is doing. He is killing this country by expanding the gap between rich and poor. But when he cut off the XL pipeline, he destroyed the middle class.
That's exactly what Biden has been doing. And Larry would agree with that 100%. Destroying the middle class, putting that pipeline down really hurt us right off the bat. And energy is crazy all over the world. There's a master plan to all this. This is probably the most sane clip that I'm going to be playing for you today. Absolutely maddening why they would do something like that. Again, there's a bigger agenda than you and I know, and it's out there in front of us. You just have to look for it. Now, are you ready for our next segment? This is from Vicky, and she's going to share her experience at a Hollywood party. When I heard it, I couldn't believe it. The parties I used to go to during my heyday were nothing like this. And I guarantee you our parties rocked and we had a blast. But I don't know what the hell's going on in Hollywood, and I'm certainly would not go to one of these. But here, have a listen.
When we get to the party, this is the beginning of all the COVID stuff. So we get up there, they tell me, oh yeah, you can't bring your phone in. I'm like, first of all, who ain't bringing their phone in? I'm bringing my phone in. I don't give a who you is. It could be Kim Kardashian, and I'm bringing my phone. And then you gotta sign some papers. What am I signing some to get into a party? Like what? Like I'm from Atlanta, we don't do shit like that. And then this is where it really threw me off. They said they had to prick your blood to get in. I said, oh no, I'm good. Everyone else went, I called my Uber and left. Like, that's the shit where I think they be trying to get you. And like, if it's like you gotta think about it, people move to LA for a dream. They chasing money, fame, clout, whatever. So they gotta think about it, somebody, like a young girl that's trying to get on and just moved out there, she gon', oh hell yeah, better.
Yes, Holly weird. Now, I'm sure every party can't be that way, but I'm telling you, the stuff that you hear and the Satanism and the androchrome and all this other crazy stuff, it just shows you this world is not what it used to be, and it's going to get a whole lot worse. Well, not that we're all happy. Let's go into our next little snippet that we have for you. I actually had a comment from one of our listeners who blasted right off the bat that giants were fake and I was BS making all this stuff up. I personally have not seen any giants, and what I told him was that if you go type that in on YouTube, you will find literally hundreds of videos about the subject. What I'm trying to say is something is there about it. Can't prove it. I haven't seen it myself. It's very strange that we have more and more access to this type of information. And it's got a lot of people thinking. And then again, you have a lot of people that are oblivious to everything and don't want to think for themselves. They want other people to do the thinking for them. Life's too hard, too preoccupied with pronouns and color of your hair. But anyway, let's move on. Since this is actually going pretty quick, here's our next little segment, and it's going to have to do with, believe it or not, giants.
There are numerous stories about giants in human history. The well-known traveler and explorer Marco Polo once wrote of a race of giants in Zanzibar who were so strong that they could carry as much as 4 ordinary men, while the people of modern Tangier, Morocco, once claimed that the founder of their city was a giant named Antaeus. According to an Irish myth, the so-called the Giant's Causeway on the northeast coast of Ireland, an astonishing 40,000 interlocking rock columns, was built by the Irish giant Finn McCool to cross the sea to Scotland and fight another giant.
That was brought to you by Secret Origins 9340. Check them out. There's a much longer video on it that goes into much more detail. And again, as I stated before, there's so much craziness about just giants on the internet right now. It'll blow your mind. Literally, it will. So, moving on to our next little subject. Have you ever heard of the Emerald Tablets? I just recently discovered the Emerald Tablets, and it's one of these things that I went down the rabbit hole, and I have actually a couple little clips about this. So, sit back and relax and listen to Secrets Origins 9346, Why the Emerald Tablets Are Forbidden to be Shown.
The tablets left in the Great Pyramid are 10 in number. For everyone's convenience, they are divided into 3 parts, and the last 2 are so great and so far-reaching in their importance that they are forbidden to be released freely into the world. They keep secrets that can only reach those who are serious about learning and seeking wisdom. Basically, 12 plates in emerald green that are indestructible because they're made of a special alchemical compound. They violate the physical law of ionization and are engraved with ancient Atlantean letters. The Atlantean language itself has very high vibrational frequencies, and even the letters themselves are actually waves of thought, waves of energy and information, and are made to enter directly into consciousness of the one who reads them.
Now, when I heard this, I was like, what? The Emerald Tablets? I never heard of this stuff. So I started looking, and here's the next thing that I came up with about the Emerald Tablets from Gaia.
Could Moses have been given the Emerald Tablets as opposed to the so-called 10 Commandments?
Moses got his information from something called the 42 Laws of Ma'at, which is something that's out of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or the Book of Going Forth by Day. And there's actually 42 commandments, out of which they took 10 and they made it into the modern-day Bible.
Where are the Emerald Tablets today, Billy?
I really believe that the Emerald Tablets, the original version, are underneath the Vatican archives in that 5-acre, hidden away, down way beneath that 5-acre archive they have, or 5-mile archive they have underneath the Vatican.
Interesting. Who would have translated them?
Oh, lots of people have translated them over many years. Have St. Thomas Aquinas, the Queen of Sheba, Sir Isaac Newton translated the Emerald Tablet of Hermes, which is actually on display at the Cambridge Library.
Wow.
Many famous people, Michael Doreal, Roger Bacon. So lots of very well-known scholars have come in contact with this information and deciphered it over many years.
Edgar Cayce has talked about in his day the Hall of Records, and he said they were located in 3 places throughout this planet. Did Thoth have Hall of Records too?
Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, he claims to have had a Hall of Records that were hidden, one underneath the Great Sphinx and one inside of the Great Pyramid itself. And I think that they've found both. In my personal opinion, when you look at a lot of the research that has come out over the last few years, they found this chamber. They were doing a cosmic scan of the Great Pyramid, something called a muon scan.
Muon scan?
Yeah, muon. And during this muon scan, using cosmic rays, they found this hidden chamber above the Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid, this massive open area, which might be one of the locations of one of these Hall of Records.
What could be in there?
Oh, wow. A lot of secreted texts from the ancient mystery schools, the true knowledge and wisdom that was meant to be passed on to mankind in our current era, which unfortunately a lot of the stuff that has been found, I think has been swept away and hidden by some of the elites. But I really do believe that there could be information of high advanced technology, 0-point energy devices, esoteric wisdom and knowledge.
Flying machines, everything?
Well, he talks about the fact that he has a flying machine or a spaceship hidden underneath the paw of the Sphinx. And recent scans discover that there's a huge, massive object there.
There's something down there.
Yeah, there's something down there. And unfortunately, there's also massive tunnels down there, too. So we would never know if they used one of those tunnels to get access to this thing and move it away. I know there was a very big special that was going to air live about 5 years ago on one of the science channels. And then the night that it was supposed to air, it got canceled.
Why?
I just think that somebody at a higher level said, you know what, we're going to pull this. We're going to go down there and see what it is ourselves and maybe get it. They were going to release the scan images and everything live on TV. And then it got cut.
I believe that when people hear that last story, they say to themselves, this is so crazy, spaceships underneath the paws of the Sphinx. And just, I mean, it's outlandish. They're just a lot of BS, a lot of craziness going on. Yet I wanted to hear more. I wanted to know more about these tablets. Then I came across the Emerald Tablets of Thoth and the Lord's Prayer by Basil Gentleman. Very crazy and very enlightening. This stuff is old stuff, so have a listen and make up your own minds.
Here I have the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, of Hermes, Enoch. It's the shortest alchemical work with the most truth in it. And this is what it means. It's only that short. And it says this: truth, certainly, that which there is no doubt. That which is above is from that which is below. And that which is below is from that which is above, working the miracles of one. As all things were from one. Its father is the sun, and its mother is the moon. Cerebrum, Sarah, Abram, Ra, Ra. The sun exalts in Aries, the moon exalts in Taurus. Gold, silver, king, queen. Its father is the sun, and its mother is the moon. Now what does that mean? The sun corresponds with the pineal gland in here, and the moon corresponds with the pituitary gland in here, in the third ventricle, attached to the optic thalamus. Joseph and Mary. The earth carried it in her belly. Here in the belly, let's put this back the right way, shall we? Here in Virgo, in the belly, is the solar plexus. The solar plexus is the place where the seed, the Christ, is born every month, when the moon transits your sun sign. And that psychophysical germ, if saved, will ascend the oil up your spine. And that oil was produced from the pineal gland and the pituitary gland, the sun and the moon. The earth carried it in its belly, in her belly, and the wind nourished it in her belly as earth which shall become fire. Feed the earth from that which is subtle, with the greatest power. It ascends from the earth to the heaven and becomes ruler over that which is above and that which is below. And I have already explained the meaning of the whole of this in 2 of these books of mine. That's it. It's teaching you the alchemical secret of how to ascend the oil. Just the same as the Lord's Prayer. What's the Lord's Prayer all about? Turn your Bibles with me, brothers, and we shall indulge in the Word of God, shall we? Man, I'm not a very good Jehovah's Witness, am I? Witness Bible, and I can't find the Lord's Prayer. Staring at it. Matthew chapter 6, verse 9, 10, 11, 12. Our Father, You must pray then this way. Let's do this, shall we? Because it looks better when it's up high. Or let's do this, even better. Our Father who art in heaven, Aries, let your name be sanctified. Let it be holy. This is where holy stuff happens. Let your kingdom come. Let your will take place, as in heaven, also upon earth. As above, so below. This is the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. It's all ripped off from Egypt. This is an Egyptian book. Give us today our bread. That's the bread. The seed, it's called the bread, the oil, the salt, the chrism, the Christ, the manna from heaven. And forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And do not bring us into temptation, but deliver us from the wicked one. Temptation is to be a glutton, or an alcoholic, or an oversexed person, or anything that puts that Saturnian acid in your body and destroys the oil. To ascend the oil, always remember to keep your tongue to the roof of your mouth. In meditation, whether you're fighting martial arts, whether you're exercising, going for a walk, always place the tongue up into the roof of your mouth.
To listen to more of that, go to Basil Gentleman. He has a much longer version of what he's talking about and more comparisons. But this is just to get your appetite wet, get your mind working. What do you think about that? That's absolutely crazy. How he says that the Lord's Prayer was ripped off by the Egyptians. Craziness. And again, we're at this weird time that anything can happen, and I always take everything with a grain of salt. So this is not gospel by any means, and I do not believe in it 100%, but it's something that I'm looking into. I'm trying to understand where this is coming from and how this can potentially affect us. We live in a very strange, enlightened world right now, and if this is all fake, so be it. Never heard of it before, but it's amazing now how you can go in the internet and you can find out so much more about the Emerald Tablets. So with that, we're going to have Mr. Mythos, his take on the Emerald Tablets and the secrets of alchemy. This helps explain it a little bit more, another perspective of what the Emerald Tablets are and what they possibly mean.
Come join the Mr. Mythos Discord, which is our brand new lounge to hang out and chat about the mysteries of religion, mythology, and the occult sciences. And for the next 14 days, there's a special limited event for the Emerald Tablet, so hop on in and join the fun. Inside shadowy laboratories, hunched over bubbling crucibles, obsessed alchemists spent lifetimes chasing the transformative secrets of the Philosopher's Stone, a mythical substance which supposedly turns base metals into gold. Pursuit of the Philosopher's Stone has driven geniuses certifiably mad and has taken some of the most powerful rulers to the very edges of ruin. The spiraling downfall of the late Sir Isaac Newton, as well as that of the Holy Roman Emperor Rudolph II, are but two examples. The irresistible yet impossible art of alchemy, the forerunner to modern chemistry, has inspired great beauty in thought, but also a sickening evil. After all, what corrupts the hearts of men more than control? Alchemy was about conquering Mother Nature and changing the fundamental elements of things as they are, a godly allure which had possibly endured since the prehistoric Bronze Age. Undoubtedly, the most influential and sacred alchemical text is known as the Tabula Smaragdina, or in English, the Emerald Tablet, which is considered to be the founding text of ancient Egyptian alchemy. For as long as its historical record dates back, the tablet has been said to contain the secret of the prima materia, the starting point for the transmutation of lead to gold. Isaac Newton, the founder of modern physics, and a man who dedicated the latter part of his life to the tablet, called it the Una Res, the one thing by which the world was created. The Emerald Tablet was not a book's worth of instructions, unlike most other alchemical texts. No, it was so simple and concise that the instructions were carved on a single emerald slab. Yet, countless throughout history have wasted their entire lives trying to fulfill its cryptic message, seemingly to no avail. Authorship of the Emerald Tablet is attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, an ancient and largely anonymous figure whose identity is believed to be a syncretization of Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, and Hermes, the Greek god of soul travel and divine communication. Ancient mystics taught that Trismegistus was a grandson of Hermes. Others believed that he was the reincarnation of some great spiritual teacher who, through multiple lives, had perfected his philosophical system and wanted to use it to guide mankind to his perfect form. From the many writings of Trismegistus comes a philosophical system known as Hermeticism, which was the inspiration behind secret societies like the Freemasons and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Christian writers wrote that Trismegistus was a prophet sent to the pagans of his time, claiming that he was a contemporary of Moses. They believed that he foresaw the coming of Christ and taught a monotheistic faith similar to Judaism. His prophetic ministry, they claimed, had unfortunately become tainted by its association with the dark arts. It is unknown exactly when his magnum opus, the Emerald Tablet, was created, but its earliest known mention was over 1,200 years ago in an Arabic text claiming to be a translation of a significantly more ancient document, which may have itself been a copy of the even older original artifact. At some point, the artifact was lost, but was believed to have been rediscovered by Apollonius of Tyana, a Hermetic Greek philosopher, spiritual healer, and seer nicknamed the Lord of Talismans and Wonder. Modern scholars agree that Apollonius lived somewhere around 97 AD, though some fringe academics claim that he was a contemporary of Alexander the Great, with some going as far as to say that Apollonius was present during the construction of Alexandria in 331 BC, and on Alexander's orders built a talisman, an inscribed stone thought to contain magic powers, to protect the city. Apollonius's most notable contributions were to alchemy and the occult sciences, particularly in the field of talismanic magic, where he was an expert. His talismans were usually made from precious stones or metals and were placed in cities to protect residents against vermin, plagues, death, and natural disasters. As the Hellenistic world was converted to Christianity, however, most of his talismans were destroyed due to being considered satanic. Apollonius is recorded to have visited a famous oracle in the Greek countryside who informed him, much to his surprise, that he would find the wisdom he sought under the statue of Hermes in his hometown of Tyana. Hurriedly, Apollonius returned, and beneath the statue, he discovered a secret passageway that led him into a deep subterranean chamber. The chamber was all but empty, save for the withered corpse of Hermes Trismegistus, sitting on his golden throne. In the old man's hands was a shimmering emerald tablet, on which was written, "The Art of Nature." He also held a dusty tome, whose title read, "The Secret of Science and the Causes of Things." Apollonius took both the tome and the emerald tablet and sealed the chamber, and what he learned from them became the tenets of his teaching. After Apollonius's death, the emerald tablet was once again lost, and this time it would never be found. It has been theorized that, along with the letters of Apollonius, it was entrusted to the Roman Emperor Hadrian and was stored in the vaults of his palace at Antium for safekeeping. Others have claimed that it was stored in the Great Library of Alexandria, where Apollonius possibly lived out his final years. Of course, the Library of Alexandria was burned to the ground, and much of what was stored within it was lost. Still, others believe that the tablet was hidden by Alexander the Great in the Great Pyramid of Giza, which corresponds with claims that the Emerald Tablet was publicly displayed in Egypt in 330 BC, 7 years after Alexander's death. A final, more esoteric claim is that the tablet was found by celestial beings who relocated it to a secret sacred library deep in a hollow pocket of the earth. Clement of Alexandria, an early Christian theologian and philosopher, stated that there were 42 sacred tablets of Hermes and Thoth, the Emerald Tablet presumed to be included, which were hidden away in a subterranean vault until mankind was worthy of the knowledge that they held. The original Emerald Tablet artifact was described as being rectangular in shape and was supposedly crafted from a solid slab of emerald, though, as with many ancient emerald artifacts, it was probably made from green glass, jade, crystal, or jasper. On its face, carved in an alphabet similar to Phoenician, an ancient Semitic language, were the following words: "What is below is like that which is above, and what is above is similar to that which is below, to accomplish the wonders of the one thing. As all things were produced by the mediation of one being, so all things were produced from this one by adaptation. Its father is the sun, its mother the moon. It is a cause of all perfection throughout the whole earth. Its power is perfect if it is changed into earth. Separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, acting prudently and with judgment. Ascend with the greatest sagacity from earth to heaven, and unite together the power of things inferior and superior. Thus you will possess the light of the whole world, and all obscurity will fly away from you. This thing has more fortitude than fortitude itself, because it will overcome every subtle thing, and penetrate every solid thing. By it, the world was formed." The Emerald Tablet is only 14 stanzas long, and in its cryptic message supposedly lies the secrets to the universe. Over the centuries, scholars and philosophers have tried to interpret its true meaning. Sir Isaac Newton, Dr. John Dee, Edward Kelly, Samuel MacGregor Mathers, Aleister Crowley, and Roger Bacon are just a handful of perhaps hundreds, and the text remains marveled over, retranslated, and reinterpreted even in modern day. The most common interpretation of the Emerald Tablet is that it is a codified recipe describing the 7 stages of alchemical transmutation of lead into gold within a laboratory: calcination, dissolution, separation, conjunction, fermentation, distillation, and coagulation. However, in retrospect of the dark history of alchemy, modern occultists have put forward their own theory for what the Emerald Tablet's cryptic message actually means. They claim that the tablet does not, in fact, teach one how to convert base metals into gold, nor contains a recipe of the legendary philosopher's stone, but that the alchemical process is an allegory for the development of the soul and the understanding of oneself. Perhaps these great thinkers of history were searching in the wrong place and should have applied the tablet's wisdom to themselves instead of their vain pursuits. This is why the tablet's most important line is arguably contained within its first verse, usually shortened to, "As above, so below." This brief statement has inspired mystics since its discovery. It perfectly describes the relationship between the microcosm and the macrocosm, mankind and the cosmos. We are inexplicably connected. The author Paulo Coelho once wrote, "I learned that many alchemists realized their destinies and wound up discovering the soul of the world, the philosopher's stone, and the elixir of life. But above all, I learned that these things were so simple that they could be written on a single emerald." What is your interpretation of the Emerald Tablet? Who exactly was Hermes Trismegistus, And why did he obscure his identity? And will the original artifact ever be found again? I'm Mr. Mythos.
And thank you, Mr. Mythos, for that presentation on the Emerald Tablets. Visit Mr. Mythos' channel for more information and, of course, for more stories from the past, present, and future. I rather like that last bit on the Emerald Tablets. It really helped me get a better understanding on what the tablets were about. I believe it has more to do with the self-actualization of the soul and not anything with alchemy, changing lead into gold. What do you think? So I hope you look further into this if you're interested, and I hope you enjoyed going down this rabbit hole with me today. These shorts were something new. We're going to keep trying again. Hopefully for the next episode, we'll have Larry with us. We're praying for him. Hope he gets better. And with that, keep looking for the elusive truth. We love you all, and we'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.